Alright, so I randomly want to review iCarly's movie or special, whatever you want to call it. I Go to Japan, and this came out in 2008, and I have quite the memories of this. I would always look forward to watching it when it was on TNEC. Like, every time you saw an episode pop up on the guide, I'd just go, ooh, I want to watch this since it's like an hour special. And so this movie, I'm gonna analyze it because why not? And so it opens with the I Go to Japan logo. We never really see iCarly episodes with their episode titles, but since this is like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, a movie, I guess this is the exception. So it opens with a computer showing Carly and Sam on swings. And they're not wearing shoes in this scene for some reason. I don't get it. It's probably something Dan Schneider wrote. But okay. And so they're debating over swing legs or pudding. But then the episode then switches to them going downstairs, and they get a video email where it's a video of them getting nominated for a best comedy for a web show. And so they're super excited because they get to be on the iWeb Awards. And so they're gonna later find out they're going to Japan. Carly then says Canada, but she has a joke, but then she says Japan, and then they're all excited. And a random subplot is Spencer wants to learn to speak Japanese or something, but he gets these translator like cardboard things. Like, one's a man with an ice cream, and the other is a lady. He just got her because he thought she was hot or something. But the exception with this, the problem with this is Spencer has to wear a collar around his neck, and every time he says a word wrong, a sentence wrong in Japanese, he gets electrocuted. Like, yeah, it's like a shock collar basically. And so, those things should be illegal in my opinion, because like you can't even take them off. And so apparently you gotta get past the level to take it off. But apparently you can't even escape a collar that's meant to torture you. So, and then later, during the skydiving scene, Spencer ends up falling out of the plane because of the collar, and then he ends up breaking, and then he ends up tearing it apart with his hands. And that was pretty funny. And so they then are really hyped about going to Japan, but Freddie's mom, of course, doesn't support it because what can you say? Freddie's mom, she's strange. And so next they're packing up. And we get a few weird scenes where Freddie's mom has to vaccinate Freddie, even though a doctor should do that. And apparently one of the shots goes to his butt, and it's just weird in my opinion. And even Freddie has a nightlight, which is cool, I guess. And so they do have first class tickets, but it's just for the free. But Spencer instead gets his friend Sako to get them on a cargo plane. And so then later they go on this cargo plane, and they're surrounded by possums. And if you don't know, I've said before that I don't like raccoons and nocturnal animals in general. They just scare me. And then possums or whatever are just like, ugh, just scary to me. And so the cargo plane, it's apparently really not in something you want to be riding on, because the guy looks like a lumberjack. Not to make fun, but apparently he doesn't even have the tools or machines to help fly the plane. He just uses a rope, and it's crazy. And so all the characters are uncomfortable being on the plane. And so he gives them buckets for the bathroom because they're wondering where the bathroom is, and then he gives them buckets, and it's just like gross. And then while in the cargo plane, they apparently find out that they're not going to be landing the plane at all. they apparently have to literally jump out of the plane. Here comes my favorite scene where they're super nervous because they have to skydive. And then they're not willing to do it until Sam pushes Freddy out the plane with a parachute, and Freddy's mom just immediately grabs the parachute and just jumps out of the plane. And then it's Carly and Sam's turn. They hold hands. They're hesitant, but then they just go for it and they jump. And then Spencer's the last one, as I said earlier. He falls out because of his collar. And then the guy, I think his name is Frank Dog, the cargo plane pilot. He then throws their luggages out the plane, even though those luggages probably just could have fallen anywhere. And they fall on the desert ground of the middle of nowhere of Japan. But I'm no filmmaker. I gotta criticize the scene, but I don't know why. But the scene where they land in the desert kind of just looks cheap. It doesn't not look like it kind of looks like cheap green screen. I know I'm no filmmaker because filmmaking is really hard, and just to see them in like this desert in Japan, it just doesn't look real. And so they finally get to an actual good hotel after apparently running through the woods for hours, but they're rescued by, I guess, the Japanese police. And then while they're at the hotel, Carly and Freddy have to go to, I guess they decide to go to the counter to get a room, and then the lady at the counter is just like, ooh, honeymoon couple. And then I guess this scene's supposed to be funny because Carly and Freddy have like this love thing where Carly's just not into him, and then what Freddy is. And so Carly even tells her to stop. And so apparently they slept all throughout the afternoon, or they wake up in the middle of the day when they're woken up by their other contestants. These Japanese not really kids. They don't really look like kids. They look like young adults. I think their names are Kyoko and Yuki. I'm sorry, I'm not good with Japan names. And so earlier in the episode, they were reacting to them, seeing who their other contestants were, and others was this guy with a poodle earlier. Sam threw the poodle toy across the hotel, and the man got angry. That was pretty funny. And so apparently also Spencer ate soap, and then he realized it's soap. He found candy in the bathroom until he realized it's soap. That was pretty funny. And then really Kyoko and Yuki offer them to go shopping since they told them their stuff got missing, and so then they offer Spencer and Freddy's mom to massages, and so the kids go on with Kyoko and Yuki in the car, and then Freddy's mom and Spencer are put into like these seaweed massage things. I don't know, but it's revealed that it's all a trap. Apparently, Kyoko and Yuki have planned to kidnap Freddy, Sam, and Carly to the middle of nowhere so they can go to the Iowa Awards and just win. Because if the trio ain't there, then they can just get disqualified from the award. And to keep the grown-ups busy, the massage people trapped them in the seaweed and abandoned them, of course, and locked the door. And then they pretend to be their friends, Kyoko and Yuki, but then when they tricked them into being lost, they go in the middle of nowhere of Japan, and then they have a little fight. It's whatever. Freddy gets hit in the eye, and it must hurt for him, I guess. And so, and then the duo abandon the trio, and they're really bummed that they've been abandoned, and Carly does try to think to stay positive, but instead they get run over by a bunch of mud from a truck driver or something nearby. And so during Freddy's mom and Spencer, Spencer eats his way through the seaweed, and then he escapes, and there we get a naked joke where Spencer's naked because he doesn't have a towel on. And he does put a towel on. And it ends up falling off again when he tries to free Freddy's mom. He ends up freeing her, and they have towels on, and then they try to escape, but they got locked in, and then Spencer even tries to go into an air vent, but it leads nowhere, and then some random guy opened the door for them, and so the duo escape, and while Freddy's mom goes back to the hotel room, Spencer finds the guy who looked like the cardboard cutout, and he goes, "The pain did not help me." Oh yeah, by the way, the cardboard cutout, every time you get a word wrong, it says, "The pain helps you learn," and it doesn't. And so he takes his ice cream. Spencer takes the ice cream of the man since he had an ice cream as well. And so the dude that tries to rip out Spencer's towel to expose him for being naked publicly. But Spencer, of course, since they can't show naked people, they can't show someone's area in a kid's movie. Spencer, of course, is wearing a second towel. Smart move. And so the two then escape, and they take the world's smallest taxi, and then they eventually find the iCarly gang, because apparently Freddy's mom chipped Freddy. That also becomes relevant later in the show when Freddy does find out that he's been chipped, and it gets mentioned later in season 2, since this is during season 2 of the show. I always thought the chip stuff was kind of weird, because like you're putting a microchip into your son's brain just as a tracker, and so it's like Freddy's half robot in a way. And so everyone gets rescued by the taxi driver, and then Spencer does fall off, but he gets back on. Who knows how he was able to hold on to that thing, onto the taxi, since it's so small. And so they get to the iWeb Award, and they only got it's also happening, and they try to talk to the security people, and of course they don't speak English. First off, if you're having an iWeb Award, shouldn't you have one of the guards speak English? Because there's gonna be some English people there, like Logic, but the guards are also stupid. And not because they don't speak English, it's because they're just like, they don't seem to understand what they're trying to say. I don't know, I'm basically saying they're dumb because they can't speak English. It's not really that, it's just like they don't, the way they act is just, they just don't seem smart. Even when they get the leader of the security guards, he tries to understand English, but he doesn't even pick the right words. They even mentions he has a bladder infection. I don't know why that's in the show. Like, we're joking about people's bladder since that's an actual medical condition, but maybe I'm overthinking it. And so they get this funny scene where Freddy's mom takes off the hair, the fake hair of one of the guards, and then they storm into the iWeb Awards, and while it's going on, and even the people are wondering where the iCarly gang are. But basically, how they figure it all out, Sam and Carly try to, I guess, charades wet kind of way, while being funny at the same time. We're trying to explain how how this trip all happened, this crazy trip happened, and then Freddy just hacks into the camera system or whatever, and shows what they're doing, and then the people, the iWeb Awards finds them, and then they at the end, of course, it's revealed that they won the iWeb Award for Best Comedy. They even showed a logo, which is nice, and so they're all happy, and so, and then later at the end they didn't want to go back on Frank Dog's plane, and they just said go onto a boat. And apparently it's also all as awful as the cargo plane. I think I better be on that boat than the cargo plane. And Spencer says, "Hey, I found food," and then it's revealed to be the soap again. And then they all are just like, "Ugh." I also like that line where Carly goes, "Sako should go back to making socks," and she's so right. So that's I Go to Japan. I really like this episode. It's funny, it's interesting, it's adventurous. It's definitely one of the more memorable episodes of the show, for sure. And yeah, one of the earlier episodes for sure. So tell me, what do you think of I Go to Japan? And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next